Second. Oh, I think it might be time for
Monster May.
Monster May.
One more show.
This is it. This is the last segment of
Saturday.
I could. I typically don't do that. Saturday is more of our loosey-goosey, non-segmented show. It's a lot. It's more of an improv, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have any set segments, really. But this is Monster May, and I'm going to be talking about the Pigman of Vermont. The Pigman of Vermont. This is a real thing,
tight.
Joe. The Pigman of Vermont is a very real legend, and this really started to come about in 1971. And it came about with a lot of locals claiming that they witnessed and ran into a very large human-like creature, very pale, but with a pig head. In 1971, there was like a group of guys outside of a dance. They decided to, grab some alcohol, go out behind the dance in this kind of clearing area, and that they said and claimed to have run into this pig man who was gnawing down on some roadkill. They were so frightened that they ran back to the dance crying. They were crying their eyes out. Now, I know everyone could be making this stuff up. They could be doing a performance for attention, but this has persisted for many decades at this point. And I'll play a few clips of this TV show that I watched on the Pigman, and we will talk about it afterwards. Here we go. This is about possibly the origin of Pigman. Here we go.
The Devils Washbowl has a long history of very odd, pig-related encounters.
The strangeness started in 1971 when a young man, about 20 years old, disappeared from a farm on Darby Hill.
According to the legend, the young man handled his pigs with cruelty. One night, he met with a gruesome end.
Come get your food.
I think that pig and Alex Jones need to get a show.
One variation of the story says that they never found a body. He had been eaten by pigs.
So after that initial incident of the young man being cruel to his pigs, he was attacked by a pigman-like creature. Then after that is where the gentleman at the dance encountered their pigman, and those gentlemen at the dance. After their encounter, they ran back to the dance crying. Then a few days later, they decided to go searching the countryside, this is called in this area of Vermont. As you heard, it was called the Devils Washbowl, which is a very weird kind of term, but that's what it's called, the Devils Washbowl. Then that's near Northfield, Vermont. So those kids. After dance, they decided to go search the countryside. They found like a small little cave system, walked in there, and saw remnants of animals. It smelled horrible in there, but they determined they saw like it was basically a nesting or a feeding ground for some sort of larger animal. Could have been a bear, but they did say it stunk all to high hell. Now, there was a couple of other sightings of pigman in Vermont. This next one is the pigman and a farmer interacting.
A farmer one night heard commotion, like his garbage cans are being gone through. Like he had the old tin, the old metal cans, and he just heard something knock them over.
He figured it was a wild animal, perhaps a bear. What he saw next bore no relation to anything natural, anything known.
He goes out and he saw the naked body of a man, but it had the grotesque head of a pig.
pigman.
It was the pig. I grabbed that one. I love that.
It was a pigman.
There we go.
Of course, it was a pig.
Those are reenactments. Now, I love these eyewitness testimonies because people, not only do they see Pigman, they see Goatman, they see Dogman, Mothman. I firmly believe these people are seeing something. They're seeing something. Now, as I was watching this with my wife, she's in the same boat as me with a lot of paranormal stuff. But she was like, maybe it's just some guy with a pig mask on, trying to perpetuate this legend or trying to start something because it's goofy. But when you hear that story of a farmer taking a shot at this kind of this creature or person in a mask, that I would assume that would scare a lot of hoaxers off. Like, listen, I love the pig story, but it's not worth my life. I'm not going to go out wearing a pig mask to continue to do this when I could be shot in the head by some crazy, farmer. Doesn't seem like the payoff is all there, Joe.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying. I'm on the side of these cryptids, and then
how long are you thinking about all this stuff? How much time do you devote to thinking about and
specifically Pigman or all cryptozoological stuff or paranormal?
Just the stuff in general? Like, is this kind of what bounces like Homer Simpson? It's like he's got all kinds of things bouncing around in his head as a cartoon. But like, is this the kind of stuff that bounces around in your head throughout the day, like Pigman and?
Well, I mean, Pigman's definitely been on my mind.
411 and all that stuff.
Well, yeah. So I live a very strange life, thought and idea wise. Most of my career is in IT, so I have to deal with logic and servers and apps and all that kind of stuff. But my hobbies include doing this podcast, and that doesn't require. But I love to research these weird stories and bring them on the show to annoy you.
Hey, man.
They're
asking the important question in the chat: how big was his junk? So is Pigman hung?
I don't think he was. That's a great question. That was not brought up, nor can I find any sort of information on the size of Pigman, his member.
Penis man.
No, it's not Penis Man. His Pigman. It's a different man you're talking about there.
Yeah, how tall is Pigman? I mean, just the basics. Let's like start small here. Is he like a really pink pig? Because some pigs are super brown.
So the rough.
Not to be racist against pigs.
I know. Absolutely. So when standing, is ranged from anywhere from 5'5" to 6 feet tall. He's got a pig-like snout, beady eyes, kind of like a pig, and he is covered in white hair.
Okay.
Right there. So I mean,
oh yeah, pigs got the hair on them.
Yeah, they got
that white hair.
They're cute. I mean, I don't know if a pigman is cute, but pigs, little piggies can be kind of cute.
They're kind of cute. I just saw a Pigman. Yeah. So there was I think I probably told this story. That is the least cute pig ever, Gretchen.
Yeah, Gretchen, you posted up a demon pig.
There was a guy in Atlanta who had a pet pig, and I swear he only had the pig for attention. Like, I think he was so lonely. He was like, I'm going to adopt a pig so that people will talk to me.
Did it work, or did it drive people away? Because
no, it worked. I mean, I think a lot of people talked to him.
People like
I never
pigs.
saw him like walking around with the pig and some friends. It was always like he was walking around with a pig, and then like random people would be like, I want to, pet your pig or whatever. It's like, okay, never.
Well, the additional descriptions, like, this is like a built pig, man. Like, it's muscular. Like, this thing is
it's like the Rock / with a mixed with a pig.
Yeah, the guy's big. Maybe there's
pig.
A little bit of flab on him. He is a pig, so he's got a little bit of pig flab. But the guy is built. There's a lot of other stories that I saw and heard that this thing is much like a scavenger, that he will go after roadkill. He's got his territory. He doesn't like people encroaching his territory. He will throw sticks at people. to drive people out of his designated territory in the Devils Washbowl.
Gretchen is so on point. You see this Family Guy gif he found with the muscle pig?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm imagining Pigman looks like. I do have one more last clip here of
Jesus.
Pigman, and this has to do with a couple, a man and a woman, that encountered Pigman.
It was in the 80s. Devils Washbowl became sort of this place where curious teenagers would go up to sort of get a scare and to look for the infamous Pigman. But it also became sort of another sort of destination, like a lover's lane. This one incident happened to this one couple that went up there. They were up there at night, and they were making out in the car.
The young fellas used to take their girls up there and tell them about the Pigman, and they could get
Let me
their
show you my
girlfriends to cuddle
Pigman.
up a little closer.
I'm going to take you to Makeout Point and show you my Pigman. Yeah, baby. It's just the way he says it sounds very creepy.
Really weird.
Yeah, I'll rewind a little bit. I talked over that. Sorry.
On the car.
The young fellas used to take their girls up there and tell them about the Pigman, and they could get their girlfriend.
Sorry. It's just, young fellas used to take him up there to show him the Pigman. I'm going to show you my carrot. I'm going to show you my Pigman. Come with me. Here we go. I'll rewind.
Fellas used to take their girls up there and tell them about the Pigman, and they could get their girlfriends to cuddle up a little closer.
They probably thought they were alone at last. They were wrong.
I go to the bathroom.
That's so romantic.
When nature calls took on a whole new meaning.
The girlfriend was waiting in the car. All of a sudden, she heard like this noise, and she looked over, and her boyfriend had been thrown into the underbrush. She was freaking out at this point, and she started screaming.
The couple's screams drove the creature away.
Oh my God, what was that thing?
I don't know.
That was not a normal person.
The young man survived the attack,
Your shirt.
and his injuries would reveal an important clue about the Pigman.
Oh my God.
He said that instead of hands, he had like a set of two giant jutting claws that were like in the area where his hand should have been, which was an interesting detail. And he had the proof on his stomach.
There we go. Yeah.
Hey, I'm telling you, the Pigman is alive.
Exactly. So when it comes to the global view of all these cryptozoological creatures, like I like the eyewitness testimony, but when it comes to the believability scale, like I am more inclined like to believe in Bigfoot because of all the stories that I've read, tons and tons of eyewitness testimony, articles written from the 1800s, 1600s about Bigfoot and Wildman. Like that one is up there for me. Goatman, that falls kind of in the same category as Pigman. They both have very similar styles, which they're kind of on the outskirts of town. They go into people's backyards, take their cats and dogs and feed on them. And it's a very niche kind of cryptozoological creature. So that I'm more inclined to be with a Bigfoot than on Pigman or Goatman. But I think the possibility is there for all of them. And Mothman's like in a completely different category on its own. Joe, I know you're not a big Pigman person, but when it comes to if you have to weigh what is more believable, Bigfoot and Wildman or Pigman?
This is the most irrelevant question I may have ever been asked.
Yes.
I mean, I'd like to believe that in the same way that when I was younger, that there was potentially some kind of an island somewhere where the dinosaurs never died off and they were still surviving, like long before Jurassic Park was even a movie. I was thinking, oh, what if there's, because I think those sort of ideas were out in the ether. So I think the Bigfoot thing to me is more believable just because I feel like it's a divergence from human evolution where maybe it's like a Neanderthal breed or some bullshit like this, where, you know, they're not as sophisticated or as populous as the human, you know, Homo sapiens, but they have at least enough intelligence to know that they're not going to be welcome if they show their face around town. That makes sense.
Yeah, well, I'm also open to the idea that a lot of these creatures, a good chunk of them, possibly could be military experiments. You know, who knows what the military has done with genetic testing, with DNA splicing, trying to create super soldiers. I mean, God knows what China does, let alone what our government was doing back in the 40s and 50s after we brought all those Nazi doctors over here. You know, I mean, they could have been a race of Nazi pigmen out there. I don't discount that at all. I mean, Plum Island, you know, they produce some pretty strange goddamn things when it comes to biological warfare, diseases. I mean, it's I don't know if it's been confirmed, but it's been, I guess, heavily hinted at that Lyme's disease could be a construct or a biological weapon that got loose.
Fort Detrick.
Yeah, Fort Detrick as well, yeah.
Yeah, that's what they say. And there, I think even Congress is going to be opening up an investigation to see if it was engineered. I mean, that's a real fucker of a disease. I mean, you think about it. Think about how gross this was. K-Dog is the one who gave me these nightmares.
He's gross. He's very gross.
He told me about this Lyme disease stuff, and then I had these nightmares about, you know, ticks, because it's so disgusting. They literally dig their face into your skin, and then they suck the blood out of your body. And sometimes they have whatever it is that causes Lyme disease, and I can think of nothing grosser. And then when you try to pull them out, a lot of times the head stays in there, which means you're still going to be susceptible to catching whatever the fuck the thing has in its, you know, body. It's so gross. I can think of nothing more gross than, you know, as far as bug bites go, than ticks. I mean, mosquitoes make ticks, you know, look like, I don't know, like
hot dogs, cakes, pizza.
No, something. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm with you. Ticks are a little weird, or they are a little bit more creepy because they're harder to kill. You know, with a mosquito, boom, smack it once, it's gone. With tick, you got to be careful. You can't really rip it off if it's dug into your skin, because it could create an infection that the head's buried into your skin. Yeah, it's super creepy. I was diagnosed with Lyme disease back when I was 18, 19. It was a very scary time. That was back when I didn't know what the hell was going on with me. My limbs were swollen. I had hives. I had all these different symptoms that I
have a constant sore throat,
yeah.
swollen glands, fevers. My muscles ache and are weak. I am totally exhausted all the time.
It kind of was like that. And this is very early on in college. I don't know if you remember, Joe, but I was kind of sick off and on for a long time. Although we didn't really talk that deeply or that personally about what was going on with each other's lives.
No, we were just doing drugs the whole time.
That's right. But I was finally had to kind of beg the doctor to take to give me the Lyme disease test, and it came back positive. They threw a bunch of antibiotics at me, like the heaviest stuff they got, and that caused my body to freak out. I honestly think I was misdiagnosed almost 5 to 6 times. And they, at the last one, lupus, they just kind of threw a dart at the wall and said, "There you go, be happy." I think that's what happened.
You know, it's honestly, it's one of the like, it's so disappointing. And it's not just for human medicine. It's even the veterinarians. They just don't know what the fuck they're doing. Yeah,
I think they do the best they can, but it's a lot of guessing going on, a lot of guessing.
Yeah. And a lot of procedural stuff. It's like, it's a process thing. Like, if he shows these symptoms, do this. But I mean, I've had intestinal issues, hell, going on 15 years now.
Oh man.
And
Shit!
Yeah, exactly. And so I went to gastroenterologist. I did all these things, the endoscopy, the colonoscopy, all these other, and they just, all they were doing was guessing. And they're like, well, take this for a couple weeks and see if the problem goes away. Take this for a couple weeks and see if the problem goes away. And at a certain point, I was just like, you know what? I'm not going to just take a bunch of random pills so you can guess. Like, I'd rather just have diarrhea.
Yes.
You idiots.
If it's good enough for Pigman, it's good enough for me. Pigman definitely has diarrhea.
If you want to join the Slack or Discord, give us an email at ourbigdumbmouth@gmail.com. Check out obdmpod.com for all the social media and donation links. Be a part of the magic.